Thanks, Jeremy. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Super game, fun for our guys. You always talk about the fourth quarter, and you always talk about the importance of the fourth quarter, and to outscore a top 10 team 24-7 in the fourth quarter is really cool, and it's great for your program moving forward. It's something you can build on, and we were so good in the fourth quarter our first year, and then kind of good and bad last year, and hopefully now we're getting that back. It talks about conditioning. It talks about confidence, and Wake Forest is a really, really good football team. So to be able to accomplish that against them was even more impressive. And somebody, I think it was Booger McFarland, was laughing at me. He says, "You say the polls aren't important, and then when you beat somebody, they are important." And the truth is, the preseason polls aren't important. Nobody's earned the rights by now. Wake Forest had earned the right to be in the top 10. So when the college football poll comes out in November, I'm all in. I think whether we think somebody should be 6th or 5th, all of the teams that are ranked have earned the right to be ranked. So I do believe that. Preseason polls have always fought with your team and your fans and said that they're just not realistic because we're guessing. We don't even know who's on your team. We don't know what kind of spring practice you had. So that's just not part of it. Players of the game, Cam Kelly was the defensive player of the game. We knew after they forced a turnover the first play of the game, they were plus 11 in turnovers. We were minus 1. That's one of the things that Wake Forest had done so well during the season, and we ended up getting 2 interceptions with Cam, which was a lot because of pressure by our front, and then we were able to get 2 fourth-down stops. So really, that's 4 turnovers to the 1, because we were 1 for 1 on 4th down, and we had the controversial turnover on the first play of the game. So Cam Kelly was the player of the game. Storm Duck played really well. I'm amazed, and some of this we talked about after the game, but now I've had a couple of days to look at it. It's really amazing how well he played after not playing for nearly 2 years. And I'm proud for him. It also shows how talented he is because he had no practice. He practiced last week, maybe for the first time in about a month. So he was a difference. Our defensive front stepped up and put pressure on the quarterback. And that's so important when you're playing Wake because they run the ball so well. And it's hard to get to the quarterback because of the nature of their offense, because you have to stop the run, and then you're not in a position to pass rush. But the other thing we were able to do, we're tall, and we were able to bat some balls down. So that really, really helped us in some of the fourth quarter things that came through. Jeremiah Gimmel coming out of the game early really hurt us. He's the leader. He's the guy. He's like the coordinator out there, and he's probably our best defensive player. Really, really proud of Power Eccles coming in and doing what he did. Tommy Thigpen's done a good job of coaching when Eugene Asante can come in the bowl game and play well after we lose Chaz Surratt, and then Saturday to have a true freshman come in and play, especially against a very unconventional offense, was impressive, and we're really, really proud of Power. I do think that college football needs to change the targeting rule. I understand why it's in. If it saves one young person from having a serious head or spine injury, it's worth it. But the hit that Jeremiah had, there's a lot of inconsistency in what targeting is right now. I can't tell anymore. It's kind of like pass interference and holding. It's very, very inconsistent. So when you take a guy who is sliding or going down and your guy comes in and hits him, it wasn't a flagrant foul. He didn't hurt him. He wasn't trying to hurt him. So if you want that to be targeting, give somebody 15 yards. But don't take a guy out of the game for making a good tackle. And I think that has got to be changed. If it's a flagrant foul, like the one we had at Virginia against an unprotected player, or it looks like somebody was trying to take somebody's head off, sit them out. We used to send them into the locker room, which was awful, and now we're at least letting them stay on the field. But that rule needs to be changed. It continues to keep the safety, but doesn't take a guy like Jeremiah Gemmel out of the game when he doesn't have many games left. The other thing he didn't gripe about the call. He didn't yell at the officials. He didn't throw his helmet. He took his jersey off, or took his shoulder pads off, and he coached his rear end off the whole game. I'm so impressed with him. He was picking people up and being positive, and he is a great young man. I know after he gets through with pro ball, he wants to coach. He will be a great coach. Just again, watching him on Saturday and watching the way he went through. Ty Chandler is the offensive player of the game. Ty is getting better each week. He's showing his quickness and his speed, and he's got more patience now. I think he's in tune with the offensive linemen. He has good chemistry with them now. He's understanding the offense because it's different from what he ran at Tennessee. He's had 3 or 4 great weeks in a row, but he's a factor now and has the speed to go score. The last touchdown was really, really impressive, that he broke some tackles and made some people miss him, and he's got the ability to get the jump start like Michael Carter and then hit the ground going and go full speed after he goes sideways. So also felt like the offensive line played really, really well. You can't rush for 330 yards, again, against a top 10 team without them playing well. And I liked our offense getting back on track. We were able to use the outside receivers. I think they caught 8 balls, still getting the ball to the tight ends, and doing some good things in that area. Offensively, I'm still not happy with our short yardage and red zone offense. We score 58 points. It's a great day for the offense. We still messed up some 3rd and 1s, 2 or 3 of them. We had a 2nd and 2 at the goal line when Sam got hurt, and we didn't score. We needed a touchdown there. We didn't need to kick a field goal. We had another opportunity, 1st and goal at the 6, and we end up kicking a field goal. So we've got to do a better job in red zone offense, scoring touchdowns and instead of field goals, and making sure that we continue to do that. We talked about the difference in the ball game being the turnovers. It's not only the turnovers, but our offense scored 14 points off the turnovers. Our defense helped Wake Forest after they got their turnovers. So we gained 14 points after turnovers. Wake Forest only gained 3 after their turnover, and I do think that was the difference in the ball game moving forward. I was really, really proud of our students coming on the field after the game. It was really cool. They're having fun. They've been that way all year. They're enjoying the games. They're making a difference, and it was no harm. Nobody got hurt, and they were just having a blast, and it was really cool. And it does affect recruiting. Those recruits were loving it. And our players walked back out and talked to them and saw them, and nothing wrong with a college student having great fun and clean fun, and I appreciated it so much. And now we're 13-5 in Kenan, and I give the students a lot of credit for keeping our guys pumped up and moving forward. Defensively, we had the 2 interceptions. We had the stops. Still giving up too many big plays. We give up a 3rd and 16. We give up a 3rd and 10. We give up a 2nd and 20 on a handoff. So we're doing some good things defensively, and then we're too inconsistent. We cannot continue to give up big chunk plays, most of them in the passing game. And Wake Forest got a really good offense, and I give them credit. And they're hard to stop, and they put you in one-on-one situations with wide receivers, and they make plays. But we've got to get better in those areas, and we need to get better fast. So really defensively, we've got to limit the quarterback runs, which everybody's having trouble with. Nobody stopped Sam, but we also have to limit the explosive plays. They had 9 explosive plays, and we had 6, and that's just entirely too many. Now, we missed very few tackles, and they missed 16. So there are a lot of good things that are happening. We're getting better. We're growing. But we've got to change some things in those areas to get better and do it quickly. We talked about Sam Howell. Really cool for him to be the leading yard gainer in North Carolina history. And that's really cool. And in 3 years, less than 3 years. So good for him and all he's meant to our program moving forward. Josh Downs went over 1,000 yards. We've talked about the loss of the guys last year. Josh has done a tremendous job of stepping in and helping with some of that 4,200 yards that are gone. And he didn't get the ball as much on Saturday and still had a great attitude and was very, very positive. Ty Chandler scored 4 touchdowns for the first time since 1993 with Leon Johnson. So that's a cool stat for him, too, and really fun for me and the guys that were around here at that time because Leon Johnson was a special player for us. And it's fun to go back and talk about all the things he accomplished. The game was a chippy game. There was a lot of talking and pushing and shoving back and forth. I'm sure Coach Clausen would tell you the same thing, but it's just too many penalties. And we got to stop. I said, act like you're doing something good. We take our helmets off when we go ahead in a game. Somebody mouths to us, we mouth back. We push and shove. It's just it's uncharacteristic. It's not a disciplined team when you do those things, and it got us in trouble. It forced us to kick a deep squib kick from the 20-yard line when the game should have been over because Jonathan would have kicked it out. And some people have asked, why did you squib instead of kick it deep? If you kick it deep, they got a better chance to return it for a touchdown. They got good field position with a squib. We'd like for the squib to have been deeper. But you don't kick it off deep when your guy can't kick it out because you had the 15-yard penalty. So we're not good enough to do those things. We've got to quit that. The special teams player of the game was Grayson Atkins. He's really done a good job this year with his extra points and his field goals. And we even had another penalty that shoved us back for a longer extra point. But those points really, really mattered as the game got down to the end. Pittsburgh's got a really good team. It's a short week, so I've told the guys it's like the NFL. You play on Sunday, you play again on Thursday, so they're not going to have a lot of time to get some physical stuff done. We had a long game on Saturday. We had a lot of plays that we played. It was a very physical game, so we've got to get ready to go. And Coach Narduzzi's done a super job, I thought, when he hired Mark Whipple. Mark's one of the better offensive coordinators in the country. And you can see the results just by what he's done with Kenny Pickett, who's now thrown for over 3,000 yards and 29 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So again, on Thursday night, fans will be privileged to see 2 of the best quarterbacks in college football. So it should be a lot of fun to watch that. We've said it before, but 3 games against ranked teams, 2 of them on the road in 13 days, that's a load. So I told our guys, it's time to grow up. It is what it is, so you need to handle it and move forward. Jordan Addison is one of the best receivers in the country. The guy's over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, so he's a handful, and we've given up too many big plays. And defensively, they're giving up 22 points a game. Their defensive line is the strength of their team. They're second in the conference in sacks, and they're only giving up 108 yards rushing. So all those things will be tough for us. They've got 31 sacks and 58 tackles for a loss. So we haven't played as well on the road. We're playing against a great quarterback that can run and throw, and we haven't stopped either consistently. We've been able to run the ball better the last few weeks, but they're one of the best in the country at stopping the run. Since we've been here, we haven't been consistent at protecting our quarterback. So we've got a lot of things that we've got to do better on Thursday night to win than we've done. Questions, Mark?
Yes, Coach. First question today will come from Dina King. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned Kenny Pickett, one of the best in the country. What makes him such a special quarterback?
Dana, he's gotten better since we played him 3 years ago because he's He's hard to keep in the pocket. And the best quarterbacks in the country, when they get out of the pocket, have the ability to run, or when you come up, throw it over their head. And with the 29 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, I think, 3 or 4, he's very, very accurate. And he's confident. And because so many people are stealing signals across the country, which is another thing we need to change in college football, we need to give the ability, like the NFL, for the coordinator to talk to the quarterback or coordinator to talk to the linebacker, so we don't have all this talk about stealing signals all the time. Pitt actually, the quarterback goes to the sideline to talk to Mark every play. So that's unique and different, but I'm sure that's why they do it. But very confident. They've got an older team. Again, all the super seniors and the guys coming back really, really help them. They're a confident team. They beat Clemson a couple of weeks ago. But it's all, like Sam for us, it's all about Kenny. Kenny's their leader. He's the guy that scores a bunch of points. They're scoring 40-something points a game. So that's just another part of what they're doing that's so successful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Luciano, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well, and thanks for your time this morning. Would you say the division is still up for grabs with a win on Thursday?
I'm sorry, I lost you there.
Would you say the division is still up for grabs with a win on Thursday?
Yeah, the thing we've got to do is just keep playing. We've been so up and down. We've been so inconsistent. It's about finishing strong as a program. Because we said the other day, the only things that are important to us right now, we'd like to have the seniors get in a perfect position to win as many games as they can, because they've been so good with us coming into this program 3 years ago with 5 wins in 2 years to where they've gone to 2 straight bowls. We need to get those seniors to a bowl. We need to finish as strong, but we've got to keep improving as a football team. And then all the other stuff is out of our control. We've got to win another game to go to a bowl. We've got to be as good as we can, but we don't need to be talking about the end. We need to be talking about getting better, and that's what we are. Because this has been a year where the talk was better than our team, and our team's getting better, and we're showing progress, and we're improving in a lot of areas. We've got a lot of great young players, and we're going to sign a bunch more. But our program needs to step up, and that's what needs to happen over the next 3 weeks.
Over to Andrew Jones.
Hey, Coach, going back to Pitt offensively, they're among the top teams in the country with big plays. They're among the top teams in the country in first downs. I think they're first in first downs. So they're able to move the ball in a variety of ways, big plays, chunks, grind it out. Where does it start when you have to face a club that could do so many things, get so many guys touches like they do? Where do you start when you game plan how to stop a club like that?
Yeah, Andrew, you go back to our last 3 games. Miami's moving the ball against everybody, and that young freshman quarterback's really got a chance to be a superstar moving forward. Notre Dame is a really good offensive team. And then Wake Forest is as good as anybody in the country. What they were averaging 43 points a game, I think. But you start at the same place every week. You got to stop the run, and when you stop the run, try to put pressure on the quarterback and keep him in the pocket and give him as many different looks as you can, and just disrupt him some. And that's what that's just basic fundamental football that you have to do each week. And Pitt runs it better than you think. Because they've got the big, strong offensive line up front. But if you allow somebody to do both, you've got no chance. So you got to stop one and then try to keep the guys in front of you. And what we've got to do, Andrew, is we've got to limit explosives. We can't have people just throwing it over our head. And to do that, we've got, until we do that, you got to put enough in the box to stop the run. You're going to have some man-to-man situations, and we always talked about that at one time being 50-50, and now it's got to be 80-20 for you to win games. And those corners have got really, really hard jobs, and those safeties. And until we get that done, we're going to be disappointed.
Going back to Storm Duck, Jeremy had told us for a few weeks leading up to this past week that he was doing some stuff, but it was obviously a wait and see situation. How much work did he get before this last week? Can you quantify really how amazing the performance he put on, given the fact that he's played, the BC game? He hadn't played since the BC game except a few snaps.
No, it's absolutely amazing. I didn't know that he would play on Saturday. Poor Jeremy's been in a tough spot. Every time he sees you all saying, Storm may play, it'll be a game-time decision for the last 16 games or 18 games. And what he, what he would do is he would do some things in individual, but he practiced very little. I mean, it's absolutely amazing to see how well he played and the confidence he played with the limited amount of practice he's had. So I'm very, very impressed. I think the only way to answer it, Andrew, is he's really good. Because for him not to practice and come out with that confidence, now he was in shape. He's been running as much as he could, and stayed in great shape, and played a lot Saturday. So, but he's a huge part of who we are here as we finish the season. He's got to take one of those places. We forget sometimes. Tony Grimes is like a freshman. That's his age. He came in as a high school senior. So we all want Tony to be perfect. We want Kyler McMichael, who came in from Clemson, to be perfect. And then Storm's in there because we've lost Don Chapman, who really hurt us. And it hurt us to lose him. And Don's so tough and so committed. He gets hurt early in the game at Notre Dame and doesn't tell anybody. And plays the whole game with obviously a bad situation in his leg, and then you lose DeAndre Hollins, who was playing much, much better. So Storm is an absolute savior coming in at this time of the year. We were down to two corners that have any experience at all. So this is a huge lift for us the last three games.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Coe, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. So Thursday night's going to be the first time that you've played on a natural grass field since week 1 against Blacksburg. And, of course, Thursday night in Pittsburgh, that's going to be a really, really tough surface. How much does the playing surface go into game planning and play calling for you guys?
Michael, it doesn't have anything to do with game planning, and we're lucky. Our facilities are so good. We practice on grass this week. So anytime we're playing on grass, we practice on grass. So it affects your kickers more than anything else. So we kicked today on grass this morning. But every day, we alternate, every other day for sure, but every day people are on the grass. And unlike the old days, you wear the same shoes. I really don't think it makes that big a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh Graham, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I got a couple things here. You already faced Armstrong and Hartman, and now you got Pickett this week, including your guy. How rare is it for one conference to have so much talent at that position at one time?
Josh, I was talking to our staff about that yesterday. I haven't been able to study it all across the country, but I would have to think that the ACC's got the best quarterbacks in the country. And therefore we can score points in this league and move fast. But I would have to think that. I mean, the guys you mentioned are absolute superstars. And then there's a few others that we could probably throw in there that are going to be. But this league is absolutely full of quarterbacks and makes it a nightmare for defensive coaches. But it's fun to watch.
And going back to the students running on the field, when's the last time you remember being in a game where that's happened to you, and do you remember it ever happening in Chapel Hill?
Josh, I'll get my dates confused here, and somebody could help me. It happened when we upset Georgia Tech, and I think they were a top 10 team, and the students rushed the field, and they tore down the goalpost. They took the goalpost down to Franklin Street, and I got in trouble because the next time we had a home game, I said something like, come on, students, let's win, and you tear down the goalpost again. So Chancellor Harden called me in and said, that's very dangerous. Don't be encouraging those students to go tear down goalposts. So, and now I think they're retractable and they go down real fast. But like I said, I thought it was fun. What these players are doing is building memories, good and bad, for the rest of their lives. And as Natron Mean sat in there the other day and said, yeah, when we played Duke in 90, and then he said the Wake Forest game in 90, and I told the players, you'll be telling these stories when he's 49. So you're 49 sitting around with your buddies, and your best friends will be the guys in this room. You're going to be talking about the Wake Forest upset over a top 10 team where the students stormed the field and how cool it was. And again, you just can't imagine what it does for recruiting. Those recruits want to see situations like that where they can be in the middle of that crowd. And I don't know how much, but some of our players went back out and said thank you and got around the students. And it was just it was really a cool moment, and it's not one that you can make happen. It just has to happen, and it's pretty magical. And I thought it was really, really cool. It was fun to see our students have that much fun. Thank you, Josh.
All right, let's go over to CL Brown.
Hey, Mack, you were kind of alluding to it with the secondary, but I wondered, what does it say to you about, the depth that you guys have developed, that you could have Hollins and Chapman go down and Duck, not having played a whole lot this season, be able to step in? Just kind of the mixing and matching. I mean, we started off the season, Kelly wasn't even in the starting lineup in the secondary. Now he's also making big plays for you guys.
Yeah, CL, it's a great point. The best programs in the country have depth, and we're not there yet, but we're heading there fast. And the other thing that's we've had so many defensive backs hurt since we've been here. It's unusual. You just go back and look at who's missed time, but Jay and Dre have done a good job of cross training too, because Chapman could go out to corner when he was one of our best safeties. And then he had gone to nickel. And one of the problems we've had back there, we've played everybody in so many different places. We've still got to cross-train, but we got to get settled. We got to be who we are so we don't continue to have mistakes. And I think the second thing's going to happen, CL, is the transfer portal has changed everything. It's just crazy. So if you're going to keep the guys that are here, it's going to be one of two things, and I'm talking about everybody in the country. Either you've got older guys and younger guys, and you're beating people badly enough, everybody gets to play. And then everybody's happy, and mom's happy, and the morale's good, and you're starting to develop depth, and you've got the next guys ready to play when somebody gets hurt. And you'll have fewer people hurt because they play less plays. Right now, we've got to look at next year because we're not consistently good. And we haven't beaten anybody badly. Maybe Georgia State, we got a few people in. But you don't get to play your backups. And the defensive line, we're rotating them. We're rotating some in the offensive line. But just like the young linebackers, Ra-Ra's not playing a lot. They're all on special teams. And Power hadn't played any except that one game, until he goes in Saturday. So I've talked to our staff. I really think we're going to have to look at playing too deep. And we did this at Texas when we got better, and maybe every third series just start another team and put them in there. And that's the only way people are going to stay. If they either want their degree or they're going to want to play. So we're all having to look at what the transfer portal is going to do to your roster management moving forward, and how do we coach differently than in the past.
So just to clarify, you going to do that to close out this season, or you're just saying?
No. I think it's something that we have to look at as a staff moving forward. I've always wanted to play too deep, and when we've had our best teams, we've been able to do that. Or like when we had the number one defense in the country when I was here before, we played 4 linebackers for 3 spots, and they all knew what to do, so we just rotated them. And we didn't have a 5th and 6th linebacker at that time, but we had 4 that could play 3 positions. So what we've got to do is look at how are you going to develop depth, and how are you going to keep we're recruiting really well. How are you going to keep a high level of recruits happy unless they play? So that's just something that I tell you all too much. I tell you everything's on my mind, but so don't try to make this something bigger than it is. But it's a thought moving forward that we all have to look at to see how you keep your people here.
Thanks, Coach. It's never too much, man. We enjoy your insight.
Thanks, CL.
All right, our last question for Coach Brown today will come from Ross Martin.
Hey, Coach. Coach Bateman was in the box calling down the plays, I guess, on Saturday. I was wondering what went into that decision. Was it your call? Was it his call? And how do you think it affected the defensive play calling or getting the plays in, whether they're good or bad, or how you saw that from your perspective?
Yeah, Ross, he'll be here in a minute, so he can talk to you more about that, obviously. But he came to me, and we obviously need to play better on defense. And again, we're so inconsistent. We play great and then just give up a 3rd and 16. And that's when you're supposed to have your turnovers. That's your interception. That's your tip ball. That's your sack. So that's where we've got to improve. And he felt like that it wasn't working well, so let's get up there so I can see better. And I can see exactly what's happening. And to his credit, they made tremendous adjustments the second half, and in the fourth quarter did enough things to win the game defensively, and that really helps us. The other part of that is you getting the getting the defenses in faster. There were 2 or 3 times on short yardage they caught us, and it takes a little bit longer from up there to down here to get it in. So when you lose the Jeremiah Gimmel, you normally have a call on the field that you just line up and get ready for the 3rd and 1 or get ready for the 4th and 1. Then if they look to the sideline, you look to the sideline, and then you check to another defense. But you've got a defense ready. And without Jeremiah out there, we got caught a couple of times not being ready on short yardage, and that's something that we've got to fix.
All right, Coach, thanks for a few minutes this morning.
Thank you all, and I will see you at Pittsburgh or see you after the game on Zoom. Travel safe if you're going up.